Very good afternoon. We'll have a short project video now. Very good morning or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Anshuman Verma, Program Officer and Deputy Head of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization, CECAM, of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP. On behalf of CECAM and our colleagues at ESCAP's Environment and Development Division, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to this regional workshop on combating air pollution from biomass burning through mechanization solutions for integrated straw management. We are very glad to have registered participants from over 20 countries in the Asia Pacific region and beyond for today's event, joining us online. We have an interesting program lined up for today. We will have remarks from senior level representatives in the opening session, followed by keynote presentations. We will then have presentations from a set of country pilot projects, as well as a discussion session. Before we proceed, I would just like to make a few housekeeping announcements. Speakers, do please stay on mute when not speaking. Participants can ask questions or provide comments in the chat box during the workshop, so please feel free to use that function. Participants will also be invited to complete a post-event feedback survey at the end of the workshop. And finally, this virtual event will be recorded. So without further ado, I would now like to invite Dr. Yutong Lee, Head of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization of ESCAP, to please deliver the opening remarks. Dr. Lee, over to you.
Thank you, Anshuman. Mr. Ke Yousheng, 课代表, Permanent Representative of the People's Republic of China to ESCAP, Dr. San Minan, Director, Environment and Development Division, ESCAP. Distinguished participants, a very good morning or good afternoon. On behalf of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization, CECAM, of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP, it is indeed my great pleasure to welcome you to today's regional workshop on combating air pollution from biomass burning through mechanization solutions for integrated straw management. Burning of residue by farmers is a common practice in many countries of the Asia-Pacific region. The cultivation method of stable crops implies that the farmers have to deal with an abundance of straw, which is often perceived to have no buyable value and can interfere with planting of subsequent crop. With little resources at hand and a very tight seeding schedule for next cycle, residue burning presents itself as the most convenient and cheap option to clear the field, especially for resource-poor smallholder farmers. Burning of straw results in severe consequences for agricultural production and the environment. Apart from deterioration in soil health, a key side effect is greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution. Worsening air quality has a negative impact on human health and can also pose a transboundary issue. Overall, straw burning undermines the progress towards Sustainable Development Goals 1, no poverty, Goal 2, zero hunger, and Goal 13, climate action, among other goals. With the help of appropriate agricultural machinery, farmers can have the solutions available to reuse straw residue for purposes such as fertilizer, cattle feed, and the base material or substrate for growing mushrooms. However, there is a need to test and promote straw utilization methods, but can enhance the performance of a machinery in specific national or local conditions. Particular attention is required for addressing the needs of least developed countries, smallholders, and women farmers who suffer from special constraints. CECAM is mandated to promote sustainable agricultural mechanization in Asia and the Pacific. In support of the Sustainable Development Goals, it launched a regional initiative on mechanization solutions for integrated management of straw residue in Asia and the Pacific in 2018 to identify, test, and promote an integrated model of straw management using agricultural machinery. Since launch, positive results have been attained from the initial pilot countries, namely China and Vietnam. The initiative was extended in 2021 with funding support from the China-ESCAP Cooperation Programme, CECP, where the project titled Enabling Sustainable and Climate-Smart Agriculture in Cambodia, Indonesia, and Nepal through mechanization solutions for integrated management of straw residue and air pollution monitoring. New pilots were established in the 3 target countries which have benefited from technical support from China Agriculture University. Strong results have been obtained from the project, about which we will hear more today. For instance, suitable machinery selections and adoption for local conditions, capacity building with emphasis on engaging women farmers, quality analytical work, and knowledge exchange. The CECAM regional initiative has also been cited as a good practice in South-South and triangular cooperation by the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation in March 2022, and a virtual demonstration organized by CECAM even won an innovation award from ESCAP colleagues in November 2022. I would like to thank our dedicated country partners, the Department of Agriculture Engineering and the Swiss Contact in Cambodia, Gajah Mada University in Indonesia, and the Powanchol campus of Tribu Huvan University in Nepal for their valuable efforts and hard work in the face of challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic. We have also been very pleased to have our partner in this project, the Environment and Development Division, EDD of ESCAP, which has provided the guidance and support and led the analytical work relating to air quality monitoring. Furthermore, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to the permission of China to ESCAP and Mr. Ke Liusheng for supporting this project through the China-ESCAP Cooperation Programme, CECP program. As an event to mark the end of the project today, the workshop seeks to firstly highlight the contribution of the biomass burning to air pollution and examine the role of approaches to air quality monitoring and modeling. Secondly, enable knowledge exchange on mechanization-based interventions. Thirdly, share the results and the learnings gained from the CECP project. And fourthly, promote regional cooperation on integrated straw management. Once again, I welcome all of you to this workshop and look forward to a fruitful round of discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yutong Lee, for your remarks, setting the backdrop of the workshop today. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Sangmin Nam, the Director of the Environment and Development Division of ESCAP, to please deliver his remarks. Dr. Sangmin Nam, over to you.
Thank you, Anshuman. Good afternoon, good morning, distinguished representatives and experts. I'm very pleased to speak in this regional workshop presenting the result and learning from CECP project. During the last 2 months, Thailand, which is ESCAP is located, is experiencing high level of air pollution, closing schools and also public facilities early February. So one day I look at the major source of air pollution. Satellite maps provided by Thailand Space Development Agency show high density of red dot in Thailand, Cambodia, and neighboring countries. In one day, there are about 1,200 fires in forest and farming areas in Thailand, over 1,700 in Cambodia, and then over 1,000 in Myanmar, and also many other red dots in other neighboring countries. So we are really well aware that many of the fires are not natural but man-made by local community. We are also well aware of the scale of open burning of agricultural residue, forest clearance fires, and peatlands fires, particularly during these burning seasons. This also shows the significance of managing biomass burning in Southeast Asia, as well as many countries across Asia. Thus, I'm very grateful to our CECP team for initiating this project and country partners for their participation and contribution, and Chinese government for financially supporting this project from CECP. Drawing from this project, I would like to share a few points. First, in connection with the strength the WHO guideline on air quality, we need to enhance communication on human health impacts of biomass burning. Contributed by the countrywide fire in Thailand, the number of patients suffering from respiratory disease jumped from 160,000 in December to 370,000 in January. So it clearly shows the impact, the health impact of biomass burning and forest fire. Our study for this project also indicates that preventing these fires in mainland Southeast Asia could have a substantial human health benefit, reducing regional average PM 2.5 exposure by 16%. Second, we need to bring this important issue to an agenda of regional cooperation on air pollution. Member states of ESCAP adopted the first regional action program on air pollution in December last year. The program includes an action on agriculture sector, including biomass burning, proposed by delegation of China. So we look forward to strengthening regional collaboration on mitigating biomass burning as a key agenda for cleaner air. Third, we do need to connect this agenda with the National Climate Action Plan. All countries of this project have committed to carbon neutrality by 2050 or 2060 and developed their long-term low emission development strategies under the Paris Agreement. All countries highlight the role of a forest and agricultural sector to achieve their carbon neutrality goals. In particular, Cambodia, Nepal, and Indonesia's strategies for long-term low emission include a plan to reduce fires in forest and farming areas. In addition to increasing GHG emission, biomass burning also causes a loss of soil carbon, thereby reducing soil's sink capacity. In this context, we should be able to promote and utilize all solutions, including the implementation of a modern agricultural machinery for integrated management of agricultural residue and biomass burning, which also bring economic benefit to farmers and local communities. Thus, we will make further efforts to foster cooperation between countries to exchange data, best practices, and policies, and facilitate the sharing of air quality data utilizing ESCAP's new platform, Pan-Asia Partnership for Geospatial Air Pollution Information, which will be launched this year. And also connect this agenda with the regional cooperation on clean air and climate action. So I look forward to having fruitful discussion today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nam, for your remarks, really underscoring the importance of air pollution originating from biomass burning in the Asia-Pacific region. Thank you. I would now like to invite our next speaker in the opening session, Mr. Ke Yousheng, the Permanent Representative of the People's Republic of China to ESCAP. Mr. Ke, you have the floor for your remarks.
Thank you, Osman. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Samin Lam, Director of Environment and Development Division, ESCAP, and Dr. Li Yutong, Head of the Center of Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization, ESCAP, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon. It is my pleasure to attend this regional workshop on combating air pollution from biomass burning through mechanization solutions for integrated straw management. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to CECAM and the Division of the Environment and Development for the arrangement of this workshop. China funded the project titled Enabling Sustainable and Climate Smart Agriculture in Cambodia, Indonesia, and Nepal through the China-ESCAP Cooperation Programme. We appreciate the efficient implementation and fruitful outcome from this project. In the past 2 years, through policy data analysis and capacity training, the project has improved existing production patterns in the pilot countries, provided alternatives to straw burning, and promoted sustainable and climate-friendly agriculture, which contributes greatly to air pollution management and climate actions in the Asia-Pacific region. The project has also been cited as a good practice in South-South and triangular cooperation by the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation. In this regard, I highly recognize the efforts of the project team headed by Dr. Li Yutong, head of the CECAM. Ladies and gentlemen, agriculture is closely linked to climate change and air quality, both as an influencer and also a contributor. The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change estimates that at least 1/5 of total greenhouse gas emissions come from the agriculture sector, making the development of climate-smart agriculture a necessary requirement for climate change mitigation and adaptation. China attaches great importance to climate change and air pollution and committed to peak carbon dioxide emissions before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality before 2060. The concept of green development has been integrated into the rural revitalization strategy of China. While ensuring food security as its top priority, China continues to promote the digital agriculture and sustainable mechanization solutions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in agriculture, making a significant contribution to climate change mitigation and air quality improvement. This month, the Chinese government released the #1 policy document on the development of agriculture, which has been issued every year for 20 consecutive years since the beginning of the 21st century. This document emphasizes to strengthen the protection of agricultural resources and ecology, to promote the green transformation of agriculture, which provides a strong institutional guarantee for sustainable agricultural development. China vigorously developed the agricultural recycling economy. The level of the agricultural waste utilization is steadily improved. The comprehensive utilization rate of straw exceeds 88%, among which the annual utilization of straw fueling is 57 million tons, equivalent to replacement energy about 28.5 million tons of standard coal, which can reduce carbon dioxide emissions by about 71 million tons. China improves the arable land resources protection and utilization, and constantly promote the protection of the black soil. With these efforts, China's higher standard farmland area has reached 60 million hectares, and the integrated mechanization rate of agriculture exceeds 85%. The use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides for the major food crops has maintained negative growth for 5 consecutive years, and the average and the coverage of green pest control has reached 46%, contributing more to food security. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an old Chinese saying, food is the primary concern of the ordinary people. Currently, extreme weather and natural disasters are frequent. Agricultural development is at risk, and global food security is facing challenges. And first, we should strengthen our cooperation and solidarity. First, we should promote technological innovation and accelerate the research of core agricultural technologies. Sustainable agricultural mechanization should be promoted to raise the level of agricultural machinery and equipment for farmers. Developed countries should provide technical and financial support to help developing countries to enhance food production and sustainable agricultural development so as to strengthen their ability to improve food security. Second, we should deepen cooperation in agriculture, promote policy exchanges and practice sharing, and accelerate coordination of agricultural policies to build a fair, reasonable, sustainable, and stable global agricultural trade order. Global and regional food and agricultural governance should be improved together to maintain global food security. Third, we should develop close partnership to address common challenges such as climate change, air pollution, and soil degradation, and establish a close partnership among governments, international organizations, and private sectors and think tanks to jointly promote the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Ladies and gentlemen, last year, the seventh session of the Committee on Environment and Development at a ministerial level adopted the Asia-Pacific Regional Action Programme on Air Pollution. calling on members to provide technical assistance for the agricultural sector to support efforts to effectively manage regional air pollution, including that caused by biomass burning, which reflects the willingness of the Asia-Pacific region to strengthen cooperation in sustainable agricultural and climate actions and air pollution management. The China-ESCAP Cooperation Programme project. This project is a good practice for promoting sustainable agriculture development in the Asia-Pacific region, and will provide a good basis for regional countries to implement the Ministerial Declaration and the Regional Program on Air Pollution, with the goal of implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. China is willing to continue to support ESCAP and CECP in promoting sustainable agricultural development and managing air pollution in the Asia-Pacific region, actively carry out cooperation in related fields. And we will work together with Asia-Pacific countries to promote environmental and ecological protection for the sustainable development. And I wish this workshop a fruitful discussion. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kerr, for your kind words and for very enlightening remarks, particularly, I think, underscoring the priority accorded by China to climate action and the green transformation of agriculture. Thank you very much for your remarks. Now that brings us to the end of the opening session, and it would be my pleasure to be the moderator for the following sessions of this workshop, starting with the keynote presentations. So, as was mentioned by Dr. Lee in her remarks, in addressing the problem of straw burning, there's also a role for approaches to monitor and model seasonal transboundary air pollution through improved data and analysis, including the application of satellite imagery. This can help to prioritize the locations of mechanization-based interventions as well. So, as part of the project supported by the CECP program, a research paper has been developed, and I am very pleased to invite my colleague, Mr. Matthew Perkins, the Economic Affairs Officer of the Environment and Development Division of ESCAP, to please make a presentation on air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions from the agricultural sector in South and Southeast Asia. So, Matthew, I'll hand over the floor to you.
Thanks very much for that, Anshuman. I'm happy to share some highlights directly with the attendees. Let me get my screen share going so that we can have those visuals. Okay, for the next 10 minutes, I'd like to walk us through some tangible examples of how we've approached the use of innovative technologies in this project and how those can help inform future action on these important issues. So in analyzing how we've focused these resources to greatest effect, we'd like to talk about the nature of air pollution itself. As we understand, the emission source for air pollution in our scope here can demonstrate unique chemical profiles depending on the source of the emission. This change is largely seen, for example, between industrial, energy, vehicle transportation, and these types of sources. In this spirit, ESCAP has undertaken an analytical exercise over the last 3 years to collect, warehouse, and analyze air pollution data from a variety of sources in order to extract the most possible knowledge from these data sets. For the next few moments, I'd like to walk us through specifically how looking at the chemical profile of air pollution can give us actionable insights in controlling greenhouse gases and focus our interventions to reduce air pollution generally. The visual that you have on the screen here before you shows some of the most commonly measured elements in the analysis of air pollution in Southeast Asia. These include ground level ozone, nitrous oxides, sulfur dioxides, CO2, of course, and as we all see out our windows, PM 2.5. Through the course of our analysis, we've looked at national, provincial, and city level emissions data. When we consider the chemical fingerprint of the elements constituting air pollution in particular areas, we're able to receive valuable clues on the sources of those emissions, which in turn helps us direct our efforts to mediate. In this particular example, we've taken two cities within the same country and marked out in a visual format the profile of the chemicals constituting their pollution. As we can see in this case, the profiles for Bangkok versus Chiang Mai are significantly different in two meaningful axes. These are the nitrous oxides and sulfur oxides. As we analyze this data, it therefore becomes apparent that the emissions inventories from these sources can suggest that intervening on traffic and industrial activities in these areas in Bangkok would have significantly greater impact on overall air pollution than the same interventions would in Chiang Mai. These useful clues also emphasize the importance of taking a transboundary, national, provincial, and urban level perspective on air pollution emissions. These themes have been receiving increasing recognition through the Regional Action Program and as well in the media and citizen engagement on these topics. So let's explore how we can use these and how we have used these in the CECAM project. We've targeted specifically sustainable agriculture. One of the most polluting aspects of unsustainable agriculture is the biomass burning. When using innovative data sources and machine learning techniques to analyze this material, certain lessons learned and directions for the future become apparent. In considering specifically Southeast Asia, the chart in the upper right represents a count over time of the prevalence of biomass burning in those countries. This correlates to growing season, harvesting seasons, and other agricultural inputs. And when considered in the context of the chart below, which highlights the comparative size of the burning activities, it really helps have the information jump off the page and suggest to our minds where we should focus our efforts to reduce the total amount of emissions which are coming from burning activities in those particular sectors. This is one of the reasons why we were particularly happy to see the focus of CECAM in the Cambodian intervention, as while responsible for a comparatively lower number of hotspots, Cambodia is responsible for a much higher level of square kilometers burned by those fires. Therefore, very well framing the importance and the impact of this project and selecting Cambodia as a country for intervention. One other point that I'd like to highlight in terms of, that gives us our future direction, but it also shows us a lesson that we can learn. If you look down at the bottom of both of these graphs, we see that China is a very small line. This correctly reflects the significant emphasis that the People's Republic of China has placed on adopting sustainable agricultural practices in their country over the last years. We can see the evidence of this success in the comparatively low number of fires and in the comparatively small number of square kilometers impacted by the remaining activities. Therefore, underlining that the interventions deployed to address this problem by People's Republic of China were in fact effective and should be considered for adoption in other countries facing similar challenges. As we continue this analysis, I'd like to zoom in on Cambodia a bit briefly to show some of the other lessons learned that we can derive from the use of remote sensing and innovative data techniques. This comes when we examine the land use types and classifications. We can see that while crop burning, which is under direct control of the farmers, is an important input, it also suggests that Cambodia in particular should consider the prioritization of its shrub land management in the area of biomass burning, particularly from the vector of deliberately set brush clearing fires for future direction. That being said about Cambodia, I'd like to shift slightly to Indonesia, obviously a very large and complex country, and we could have an entire seminar just on the data for Indonesia, but we'll select a few key points for the 10 minutes we have allotted to this presentation. When considering from the vantage point of Jakarta, the lessons that we can learn from the Indonesian burning patterns clearly indicate that when considering the country as a whole, forest and shrubland burning is a significant problem. The forest fires are a significant problem. When we consider it from the vantage point of what are the people breathing, we see that the population concentration in Jakarta is different. Whereas at the national level, the shrub fires exceed the crop fires when viewed at a per capita basis with what's actually going into the lungs of the people. We see that the primary pollution inputs in Jakarta are significantly impacted by human-set agriculturally related biomass burning, further emphasizing the need to have this critical regional and urban level analysis to determine which policies will have the greatest impact on human health. I would also like to make a brief remark on the notion of repeating hotspots. This is a matter, a dimension that has been a significant component of ESCAP's work in support of the air pollution profile and this project in particular. And this is the issue of hotspot repetition. We propose that the data suggests that when considering the map of hotspots over time, that by looking at where a fire has occurred at the same place over a consistent number of years is a coincidence that strongly implies human intervention. The same piece of land is having a fire year after year, there's probably a person setting it. This is also consistent with what we've seen from the successful lessons of the Chinese case and the suggestions for further South-South and triangular cooperation to help other countries which are also struggling with sustainable agriculture to reduce the number of repeatedly set fires in this perspective. We propose that this may be considered as a methodology and indicator to take forward for monitoring the success of interventions over time by reducing the number of fires that are repeatedly set on the same piece of land. To continue that towards the conclusion for this piece of time for our program, I would like to highlight briefly from a sub-regional perspective how we see the integration between the different countries and the issue of the transboundary conveyance. Obviously, we're seeing here the transboundary spread of PM2.5 from Indonesia to neighboring countries, depending on prevailing weather factors. This, of course, is one of the reasons why the ASEAN Haze Agreement received so much support and emphasizes why these countries were so enthusiastic to participate in the regional program for air pollution to catalyze cooperation on these critical transboundary issues. As suggested by the previous data, the adoption of sustainable agricultural practices will be a key dimension of this forward-moving activity. I'll summarize just briefly to highlight some tangible examples of where innovative approaches to new data sources can be helpful. I'd like to highlight this data stream that is part of further cooperation between ESCAP and countries in the Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia regions. This is the utilization of satellite imagery from the recently launched GEMS platform, which among other capacities provides a much faster, a much more timely data stream to monitor emissions. For this presentation, I've chosen to focus on sulfur and nitrogen, as these are greenhouse gases, but we have many options, indicating the capacity to identify hotspots as they're occurring in real time for countries engaging in this cooperation. I'll also just advance us here to see the comparative analysis for the nitrogen plumes, which we can see on an hourly basis, animated throughout the past week, coming right up to this meeting, to this very meeting right now. This brings us for the last week up to real time. We're very excited to have the governments of the region utilize this type of analysis in their policy interventions and to catalyze their cooperation. And we hope that there will be continuing momentum to share data of this nature by the countries with instruments of this magnitude, with countries that can utilize the data to guide their policy actions. So this provides a useful visual of a way that ESCAP is currently helping countries share data to take action. So with that being said, I'll just summarize my time period for this intervention with these points. Obviously, as we understood at the chartering of this project, biomass burning is a key issue. This has direct impact to greenhouse gases and PM 2.5. We have successfully demonstrated that by using machine learning and innovative data sources, we can get the insight necessary to focus our efforts and track progress. We trust that through the Regional Action Program, these interventions can be taken forward, and we would suggest that GEMS, as an example, is a useful modality among others. So these are the lessons that we see coming from the data, and we certainly hope that the good practices pioneered and funded by China can be well adopted by countries throughout the sub-region who are facing similar challenges. So this brings to the conclusion my intervention, and I am available and happy to take any further questions that may come up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matthew, for the very informative presentation. I think it's quite fascinating how air pollution monitoring and modeling tools allow us very deep insights on the role of agricultural burning in overall air pollution and tracking of hotspots through repeat burning episodes and so on. So I think this is certainly technology is a great enabler, and also a great driver to inform decision making. So thank you, Matthew. Just to reiterate that we have a discussion session planned later. So I would encourage any questions that may be there in the minds of the audience to please put them in the chat box. And time permitting, we will have some of those questions taken up in the discussion session. So with that, I would now just like to take the opportunity to make a presentation myself. So I will make a presentation on integrated and circular model of straw residue utilization on behalf of CSAM. So I will try to share my screen, and I hope my screen is visible. So this is a model that CSAM is trying to promote through the ongoing project on integrated straw management. So just to set the backdrop, at the risk of repetition to a bit, as has been outlined, crop residue or straw burning, it's certainly a very serious concern in many countries of the Asia Pacific region, and it has been leading to not just negative economic impacts in terms of agricultural production, but also negative impacts on the environment and on human health. So apart from the effects on soil nutrients, on pH, moisture, organic matter, fertility of the soil, while it might appear to add nutrients to the soil in the short term, over the long term, it leads to decline in soil fertility. And certainly air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions are also among the key negative impacts. At the same time, in severe cases, it can cause public health hazards, transportation disruptions, closure of schools in severe cases. So there are many dimensions to straw burning and its contribution to crop to overall air pollution. And therefore, residue burning is certainly not aligned with sustainable intensification of agriculture and with the vision that has been outlined at the Food System Summit that was convened in 2021. So this is essentially a snapshot intended to put on screen the scale of the problem that we're dealing with. So if you look at these tables, these relate to the amount of straw generated in South and Southeast Asia. And it's from a study, a research paper that CECAM developed in 2018. So South and Southeast Asia generate an estimated of more than 400 million tons of straw in a year. And here we're just talking about two of the sub-regions, South and Southeast Asia, and only of one crop, rice. But of course, there are other crops, there are other sub-regions. So you can imagine, the greater quantum that's being generated. And with so much straw being generated, the obvious question is what do we do with it? And unfortunately, many of the times the simple answer has been to set fire, which has been a cause of air pollution. So on this slide, you would see that among South Asia, for example, a lot of straw is produced in India, but then also significant quantities in Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, among some of the countries. And in Southeast Asia, Indonesia is one of the big producers of straw, apart from also contributions from Vietnam, Myanmar, and Thailand. So now, what are the key reasons for burning of straw? This has been, much discussed, but of course, one of the key factors is that the farmers do not perceive any economic value in the straw. It's considered to be a waste, and therefore, something that can easily be put fire to. At the same time, the cost of straw collection, transportation, and storage is very high, particularly in a time when we're seeing more and more rural to urban migration, and then the shortage of rural labor happening, which is added to the cost of straw collection. So once again, it makes it cheaper, simpler to simply burn the straw. Moreover, there's also a time pressure on farmers due to the more intensive cropping cycles with less time available between harvesting and the next seeding cycle. And there's not enough time for the straw to decompose, and therefore, burning presents itself as a quick option. Then there's lack of adequate machinery and techniques, one of the key focuses of the current project to treat straw. And with adequate machinery, you can actually address the previous three aspects of lack of time, lack of shortage of labor, also the aspect of value addition for the straw and making it a productive resource. So machinery has an important role to play. And then also another reason has been the low awareness of the impacts of burning on the environment on the part of the farming community in many areas. So CSAM has been promoting a regional initiative on integrated straw management starting in 2018. Under this, we are promoting a circular model of straw utilization. If you look at the picture on the left of the screen, if you look at the innermost circle, so the straw can first of all directly be incorporated back into the soil as a fertilizer, and another alternative is the straw can be used as fodder for livestock, and then the manure from the dairy farm can be fermented and fed back as fertilizer back in the farmland. Moreover, the manure from the dairy farms can also be used for biogas production in a biogas digester, and the slurry remaining from the biogas digester can then go back as fertilizer into the farmland. And the biogas can help to produce electricity and lighting for the community. And then finally, the straw can also provide a substrate or base material for growing mushrooms. And then the residue of the base material can again go back to the farmland as fertilizer. So the idea of the circular model is that the output or the residue from one step of the process can feed as an input into a subsequent step of the process. So in all of this, agriculture machinery has a key role to play. In implementing this regional initiative, our focus has been to highlight the economic benefits of sustainable straw management, which can appeal to smallholder farmers. Also, we have been trying to incentivize the adoption of the mechanization technology and to encourage adaptation, particularly to match the local needs. So We have our first pilot project was in China, and it was a multi-stakeholder effort, engaging research institutions like the China Agricultural University, local government, and local farmer cooperatives. Here, we promoted the use of straw as fertilizer for the new energy resource and substrate. And we've had very positive outcomes, the increase in soil organic matter, increase in net incomes of farmers, and so on. And we'll hear more about this from Professor Hejin in the next session. We also had the pilot in Vietnam in partnership with the Sub-Institute of Agricultural Engineering and Post-Harvest Technology. Again, we had positive outcomes through the model of promoting indoor mushroom growing technology, which was demonstrated as being superior to the traditional or the outdoor method. And the outcomes were higher mushroom yield with rice straw using efficiency increase of about 26% as compared to 13 to 15% in the traditional method, then lower production costs and higher mushroom quality. And again, the substrate could be applied back as fertilizer to the field. So building on this work, the regional initiative was extended to new pilots in Cambodia, Indonesia, and Nepal in 2021 with financial support from the China-ESCAP Cooperation Programme. So the approach that has been implemented is essentially comprised of establishment of pilot sites and then conducting field trials of locally suitable machinery, and then the modification and adaptation of that machinery based on the trials. At the same time, we focused on capacity building and enhancing awareness within the community through awareness and demonstration sessions, and also enabled regional knowledge exchange through study tours to other countries. So this pilot model has covered both in situ and ex situ utilization of straw based on local needs, and several machinery like minimum tillage seeder, baler, direct seed drill, handy straw cutter, they have been used. So you'll hear more about the actual work and the results from each of these pilots in the next session from our country partners. We have enabled regional knowledge exchange through, for example, a regional study tour to India that was held the early part of the initiative in 2019. We have conducted virtual workshops and demonstrations, particularly in the COVID-19 pandemic situation, where the field demonstrations from the field from the pilot site in China were live streamed to a regional audience in other countries, enabling them to see and learn from some of the work that was going on. And then also we organized a study tour in Thailand in November for our pilot site partners in the current project. So as has already been mentioned, the overall CSAM region initiative has been cited as a good practice in South-South and Triangular Cooperation by the UN Office for South-South Cooperation in March of 2022. And we have also won an innovation award from ESCAP colleagues last November for the virtual demonstration that we carried out in an early part of the project. So what are some of the key lessons and takeaways? So clearly, I think straw burning, it's a shared concern, it's a transboundary concern, but it's an important challenge for progress towards the related SDGs, for nature positive production, as has been mentioned at the Food System Summit, and then for sustainable intensification of production. And alternative uses of straw can provide sustainable solutions, but there are several considerations that need to be taken into account. For example, context-specific alternatives have to be identified. We cannot have a one-size-fits-all approach. There needs to be community engagement and local champions available to take ownership. There's the importance of local adaptation of the machinery, training and capacity building, and very importantly, a multi-stakeholder approach where we work together with the government as well as non-government stakeholders for optimum impact and scale. And then finally, there's a key role for regional and international cooperation and knowledge exchange. So let me stop here. And I will, as I said, we'll have the discussion session later, where we can take questions. And you're welcome to submit questions in the chat box. So that brings us to the end of the keynote presentation session. And if I may, we can carry on with the next session on the agenda, which is the mechanization-based solutions, the perspective from the country pilots. Like I mentioned, we have established country pilots in China at an earlier phase of our regional initiative, and then also expanded to in the latest phase to Cambodia, Indonesia, and Nepal. So we'll have presentations from the country partners in these 4 countries. And here we will get to learn a bit more about the activities, the results, and the key learnings that have taken place. So let me proceed. I would invite for the first presentation from China, Professor He Jin, the Deputy Director of Conservation Tillage Research Center of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs of China, and Professor of China Agricultural University. So Professor He Jin, you have the floor, and you have about 12 minutes for your presentation. So over to you.
Okay, thanks, Anshuman. Good afternoon, everyone. I think today is my pleasure to introduce the outcomes of the implementations of the pilot project on the integrated store management in China. Firstly, I would like to thank the support of the CECP and our project partners, and included China Agricultural University, Qingdao, and Laixi Administration of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. Our pilot site is located in Qingdao, Zitao Agricultural Machinery Specialized Cooperative. I will introduce my presentation based on these 6 parts. Firstly is the overview of the store condition in China. And you know, in China, we have very high store yield. And totally, the annual yield of the crop store is over 900 million tons. So how to use the store efficiently is a great challenge for us. And normally, we use the 5 methods to prohibit store burning and discarding. And we use the store as a fertilizer, fodder, and a new energy resource, base material, and industrial materials. Now the comprehensive utilization rate of the agricultural store reached 88% in China. This is our pilot site. It's located in the Laixi of Qingdao. And in Laixi, the 3 main crops, the wheat, maize, and the peanut, the annually produced over 800,000 tons of store. Our project is from 2019 to 2022. What we have done, and we used the store as the fertilizer, fodder, new energy resource, and the base material. For the store, used it as the fertilizer, and we directly returned the store to the field. Also, we returned the cow manure and the biogas slurry to the field. For the fodder, and it means the NCDG maize. And for a new energy resource, and we use the store to produce the biogas for the cooking and heating and other purpose for the local farmers. For the base material, the store is used as the raw material to cultivate the mushroom. Firstly, I would like to introduce the store used as the fertilizer, and for returning store to the field. It includes 2 ways. The first one is the store cover. The second one is the store mixed with the soil. For store cover, the main operation schedules. We harvest the wheat, then put all the wheat store to the field, then use the no-till seeding of the maize. And also, after the harvesting of the maize, and we return our maize straw to the field. Then we will have the no-till seeding of the wheat. In this operations, in this treatment, all the straws is returned to the field as covers. And in the operation, and we need to evenly chopped it and returned it. Evenly chopped the straw and then returned the chopped straw to the field to facilitate the subsequent no-tillage seeding. Also, the seeding depths need to be uniform. Actually, for straw cover, we are doing the conservation tillage. So, if it is necessary, we need to do the subsoil every 2 or 3 years according to the soil conditions. For residue or straw mixed with the soils, most of the operations are the same as the straw covers, but the only difference is after the harvesting of the maize, we will use the rototiller to mix the chopped maize straw with the soil, and then we will do the wheat seeding. For this treatment, the chopped maize straw need to be fully mixed with the soil so as to improve the germination of the wheat. The second method for straw used as fertilizer is returning cow manure to the field. And we will use the ensilage made, then we collected the cow manure. We use the machine to collect the cow manure, then return the cow manure to the field. Then we will use the rototiller to mix the cow manure with the soils. In this treatment and for cow feeding, the fodders needed to be used layer by layer to prevent contamination. And also for returning cow manure to the field, the cow manure should be mixed with the soils evenly. The third way for straw used as the fertilizer is returning biogas slurry to the field. And we use the straw to produce the biogas. After the biogas fermentation, then we will separate the biogas residue and the biogas slurry. Normally, we return the biogas slurry to the field. Then also use the rototiller to mix the biogas slurry with the soils. Then we do the wheat seeding. And here we need to consider the professional weak transportation and for biogas slurry, no leakage and overflow. Also, the biogas slurry should be fully mixed with the soils to get a good fertilizer effect. For straw used as the fodder, and it means the silage maize. Then the main operations, then maize seeding, then maize ensilage harvesting, and straw fermentation, then processing fodders, feeding cows, and produce the milk. In this operation, and in order to improve the palatability and digestibility of the fodder, the maize straw normally should be chopped finely. Also, the environment for feeding cows and producing milk should be kept clean. For straw used as a new energy resource, and we use the straw to produce the biogas. And you know, in our project, after the production of the biogas, the farmer will use the biogas to cook and also heating and also other domestic purpose. The last year, the third year of our project, and we tested the straw used as the base material. The straw is collected and badged for a base material to cultivate the mushroom. This is the main operation schedules for store used as the material, base material. And here I need to mention for mushroom harvesting, we need to clean and disinfect the work's hand. And also we need to be timely packaging and harvesting. Also in our project, and we did the machine modification. For example, for store return to the field, and we improve the performance of the no-till, the rototiller and no-till seeder. Also for returning cow manure to the field, and we added the equipment for dry, wet cow manure separation. Also, we added the plastic film covers fermentation and the 10-stage sedimentation tank to improve the quality of the cow manure. For returning biogas slurry to the field, also we use the equipment to separate the biogas slurry and the biogas residue. Here is the purpose is to improve the quality of the biogas slurry. For the silage mix, and we use the machine, machine to improve the quality of the kneading of the straw. Also, we added the catalytic enzyme to improve the further quality. In our project, and for the extension of the integrated store management technology, each year we had the training course related to the integrated store management to improve farmers' awareness and technical skills for the store management. Also, we have the virtual workshop and field demonstration, and the demonstration were organized to share the good practice and the experience. And also during these 3 years, the experts from China, India, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, Nepal, and Vietnam shared the knowledge and experience on straw and or residue integrated management. During the 3 years, we founded the technical training and the field demonstration are very important for the extension of the integrated store management technology in the pilot site. For a key achievement, finally, we established the circular agriculture model, as Ashima mentioned, introduced it. The result and outcomes of our project. Firstly is the ecological aspect, and we founded the increased the soil organic matter in the field managed by the store cover, store mixing, return cow manure, store cow manure returning, and biogas slurry returning after 3 years. Also in the pilot side, and over 300 tons of the store were utilized per year, and rather than burnt it. Also in our pilot side, each year, over 17 tons of the cow manure were returned to the field as fertilizer per hectare. For the economic benefits, and we funded the increased wheat and the maize yield. Also, we use the new fodder with the catalytic enzymes to produce the higher milk as compared to the fodder in the first year. In the pilot side, and 18,000 cubic meters of the biogas were produced every year. For a mushroom, this is only 1 year's data, and each greenhouse can produce the 18 tons of the mushroom every year, and with a total revenue of about $58,000 US. During this 3 years, we tested and extended the integrated soil management technology in the pilot site. I think for a large area adoption of this technology, we need to consider the policy support and the subsidies from different levels of government. Also, we need to have suitable technical patterns according to the local conditions. And we need to develop suitable, affordable, and high-perform machine. Also, the training of the farmers and the field demonstration are very important. All these factors are very important for large area adoption of integrated soil management technology in the world. That is all that I could like to communicate today. You are welcome to visit Lanxi Qingdao, a demonstration site in China. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Professor He Jin, for your presentation. I think highlighting all the different dimensions and the mechanization-based technologies that have been applied at the pilot site in China. And again, I think it's encouraging to see the positive results that have come in terms of the economic aspects, environmental aspects, and so on. Thank you for your presentation and sharing the results of the work done in China. So with that, let us move now to the second presentation, which will be from Cambodia. So I would like to invite Mr. Chia Somandina, the Deputy Director of the Department of Agricultural Engineering of the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries of Cambodia, who together with the Swiss Contact are our pilot site partners in Cambodia. So Mr. Dina, the floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you, Sir Suman. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to respect to the CECP for support our strong supported this project, combat burning rice straw through mechanization, solution for integrated management and straw residue and air pollution. And today I would like to present our implement this project in my country. Let me share a screen. I think it's some problem with internet.
So, Mr. Dina, we will share on our side.
Yeah, I cannot.
Yes,
I cannot share the screen because of internet is slow. Maybe I close video.
Just please tell us whenever you want us to move to the next slide.
Okay, this project. Please move to the next slide for the content. Yes, our content today is an overview of Cambodia in Cambodia. The second is baseline survey result. The third is mechanization-based intervention. Fourth, result from the field test. And the fifth, training and awareness session. And sixth, key achievement benefit. And the last one, key learning and recommendation. Please move. You know, Cambodia have total paddy production around 3 million hectares. And with total paddy production 11.6 million tons in 2022. And most of the rice straw still remain in the paddy field after harvesting, nearly around more than 10 million tons. And in Takao province where we do the project, where we implement the project, rice straw management. It got a third rank paddy production in the country. Farmers in this area, they do 3 times of paddy per year. Most of them grow short paddy seed variety. It takes from growing to harvesting about 3 months. That's why after harvesting, because of short take of time, for the next season, they always burn the rice field after harvesting. Please next. And the second point is baseline survey result. In baseline survey result, we collect many data, but the most important data is burning the rice straw. You know, in the area where we implement this project, from the survey data, 70% of farmers burn the rice straw after harvest because they don't have enough time to collect the rice straw, and lack of equipment to collect the rice straw, lack of knowledge on effect of burning on the rice straw. When they seem not to have no knowledge on the effect after burning the rice straw. And most of the farmers use machinery for paddy production. So the cow raising is reduced, so they don't care about the rice straw, so they quickly burn after harvesting. And or vegetable production and other food tree production. So this also can choose the rice straw to cover this also. So because of this result, both of farmers burn the rice straw in the paddy field after harvesting. This next. For the project, side, the mechanical based intervention is in Cambodia. We use trying to promote machinery utilization to the farmer in the area by promoting baler to collect the rice straw, promoting land preparation and planting method technique by using tractor, hand tractor attacked with this plow, rotavator and seed drill. And also beside the mechanization based intervention, we also try to another intervention by try to promote mushroom production, tree and vegetable growing technique using the rice straw to cover. And also try to promote farmer to raise small cow, raise small animal. This next. And another point was the result from the field testing. This we have a before we do the awareness session for farmer, we also conduct this field test. The 2 project equipment. One is the agricultural engineering station. As a result, we find out one important point in baler by removing the small sprocket inside the baler and install the new bigger sprocket to make bale bigger and compressed. Also, we find out the field capacity of baler also is on 1.07 hectare per hour, and we also collect it can collect around 88 bale per hour with an average of bale 18 kg. Next. And also we also test with the Thai kit drill also. We have tested in the WAPO station also, WAPO agricultural station also. If we use the Thai kit seed drill from the company, the roll of the equipment is 28 centimeter per roll, and seed rate is only about 50 to 60 kg per hectare. That's not suitable for. So we adjust when we testing this. We adjust the roll from 28 centimeter per roll to 20 centimeter per roll each, and seed rate about 90 kg per hectare. We also find out the field capacity for Thai kit seed drill is point field capacity 1.78 hectare per hour. This next. This is some picture that we check. This one we check inside the baler. We check the small one to the bigger one that is suitable for this area. And the row also, this we check this row. The company row is 28 centimeter, and then we adjust to 20 centimeter per row. This next. And also we also conduct a 4 awareness session, 2 for baler awareness in Sambu and Thlok commune, and 2 for Thai kit seed drill awareness in Sambu and Songai commune. This picture, most of them, this one is most of them are women, 25 are women, but they come more than 25, and this for the Thai kit seed drill. The key achievement. We have also conduct a baseline survey also before we start the implement the project. We have conduct one baseline survey by interviewing 101 farmers, and this include 53% are female. And also we have held an inception workshop project enabling sustainable and climate smart agriculture in Cambodia, Indonesia and Nepal through mechanization solution for integrated management of soil residue and air pollution monitoring at ESCAP province with 54 participants, and 7 are female. And the participants among the 54 participants, we have participants from GDA leader, from the Takao province soil authority, from Department of Agricultural Engineering, from Provincial Department of Takao, from Trang District Authority, and some local commune authority, where we conduct or implement the project, and agricultural machinery service provider, farmer, and agricultural operative. And we also conduct also one field test baler and one field test on Thai kit seed drill also, but this by only technical staff from Department of Agricultural Engineering. And we also conduct one farmer awareness session on baler in commune, in some commune with 39 participants, and this include 29 female. This we only invite 25 women, but this commune farmer are very happy and to participate, so they come more than 25 for the female session. And we also conduct one farmer awareness session on baler in Tlo commune with 35 participants and 11 are female. Next.
Mr. Dina, if you can please wrap up in 2 or 3 more minutes. Thank you.
Okay. And also we have conduct one farmer when on Thai kids tutorial and with the 35 participants, 15 female, and another one Thai kids tutorial in Songhai commune with the 35 participants and 8 female. And we also have public baler manual and 100 baler manual and 100 Thai kit manual for promoting to the other province and refer to M&E form. All participants prefer and adopt in baler and Thai kit cereal for the agricultural cooperative and commune, but they cannot afford to buy it, and they suggest to get more or borrow it from the project. And they also suggest the project to continue more awareness session to get broadly understanding with all their members in AC and commune. Next. And regarding to the as well as for baler awareness in the mountain area, all farmers prefer subject to borrow and get one baler from AC also. And also, and should have more baler. I think I can choose another slide. Please move to like, yeah, this one. Should have more baler awareness and demonstration to local machinery service provider in order to get more understanding and interesting in baler business. And we should also have equipment we can collect the rice straw in the wet condition, because in their area they do 3 rice crop per year. So in the wet season they still cannot collect the rice straw in the field. And for high kit cereal awareness and demonstration, the area farmer to do rice seed production, especially seasonal rice seed variety like Cambodia. They prefer the equipment. But for the farmer who grow short variety rice seed variety, more work is needed to get them to be lifted and adopt, and should have more Thai kit cereal demonstration for the rice seed production. For the rice seed production farmer, seed producer group, agriculture cooperative, and local machinery service provider. Next. This the presentation is ended now. This some picture that show the activity from the project in the first time. Yes. This also this thank for attention. This also the book that we can provide it to the we have published 200 of book and manual that we can provide it to the agricultural provincial department, and they can promote this for sustainable in the future. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Savandina, for your presentation, and I think very practical I think results and learnings that have come. The new machinery has been demonstrated to the community, and there is interest in the community for utilizing it. Of course, cost is a factor, but borrowing the machinery or custom hiring are opportunities for getting smallholders to use such machinery. So thank you again, Mr. Dina.
Okay.
We will now move on to the third presentation from Indonesia. I would like to invite Professor Lilik Sutiarso, Professor of the Department of Agricultural Engineering of the Faculty of Agricultural Technology of Gajah Mada University in Indonesia. So, Professor Sutiarso, I'll hand the floor over to you. You have 12 minutes for your presentation, and since we are running a little over time, I would appreciate if we can wrap up in 12 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ansuman. Good afternoon, all our distinguished colleagues. Yeah, I'm very glad to be honored to can present our collaboration project with CECP, UN-ESCAP, related to enabling sustainable and climate smart agriculture in Indonesia, especially in Yogyakarta. Is one province in our country. Yeah, this is located about maybe 1 hour by plane from Jakarta. Yeah, we focus on mechanization solution for integrated management and straw residue and air pollution monitoring. It's actually the big topics related. The projects also not in Indonesia but also Cambodia and Nepal. Yeah. First, I would like to give an overview of the 3 locations. It's all located in Yogyakarta province. Yeah, that's the first Prambanan district, and the second is it's near from Prambanan district is Sri Martani village and also Bambang Lipuro district. Yeah, actually the 3 location has special characterization related to how they manage the straw residue especially after harvesting time. So that's why we choose 3 locations for we call pilot project in this related research or in this related program. This general overview of the 3 pilot location. It's for example, the agricultural land area, agricultural productivity, member of farmer groups, and also we focus also in member of women farmer groups, land topography. For example, in the 3 locations, one is highland, and then the others is located in lowland area. Crop cycle per year, especially for paddy field, is 3 times per year. And also the agricultural product per cycle, paddy, and second crop, usually maize or soybean or peanuts. Yeah. And unfortunately, the existing condition now that the existing agricultural machinery ownership is very few, and also in Japan, it's none. It's mean that there are some agricultural machinery they have to borrow or rent to other place. And we can categorize in agricultural mechanization. It's, yes, not full mechanization, but we can call semi-manual, because the situation on the area that's very limited number of agricultural machinery. Yeah, this is the situation of 3 locations. Yeah, our projects related to the CECP. And also all of 3 pilot locations has implemented integrated crop and livestock farming system. however in manual or in conventional technology, but they already developed some integrated farming system, especially crop. It means that food crop and livestock. This is a result of baseline survey in the pilot location. There's some participants, especially women groups, women farmer group, and also the farmer groups. They joining together to support our program in the 3 locations. Baseline survey, maybe I can skip in detail that related the situation or existing agriculture system now. That's, for example, the total respondent and also crop cycle. Unfortunately, during the projects, we just get 2 times harvesting time. So maybe this limited data or information to give the final conclusion later, what is the positive impacts of our program. Straw residue is mostly directly utilized as animal feed without appropriate supported treatment. Because there's, in the previous, I said that the number of machinery and also machine and equipment is very limited, so they just directly utilize the residue, straw residue. Also the feedstock is directly given to the livestock. Existing agricultural machinery ownership is very limited. Also in the 2 locations, especially the straw residue is directly used, without any treatment, without any processing, something like that. So they don't need in the previously they don't need the machinery to process the straw. That's the harvesting process still use manual method. So there's no combined harvesting, something like that. And also threshing process still carried out by heating the paddy stalk manually. Straw is used for animal feed with barely minimum treatment. And also, most of utilization is directly used. And then there's a situation of straw after harvesting, after process in the field, and they carry out in the near their house or the center of community, farmer community, and they and give directly to the livestock, to cow. And also the composting directly for fertilizer, without any machine, without any equipment to process. Minimum processes, the straw residue management, some uncontrolled straw burning, there's still some situation now. Suboptimal condition and agricultural machinery support to the farmer to conduct the straw management. Although some farmers have implemented straw management manually, it means that's a traditional way. Straw residue management has been implemented with low awareness and it's scatters. So we cannot say that it's already socialized this technology. Straw pressing implementation and technology are still not common, because it's directly used, without any treatment. The woman farmer groups still not conducted straw management before, and of course, we can say that low participation from the farmers. So there are 3 problems: lack of straw management technology, lack of awareness and participation from the farmers about straw management, and suboptimal condition for straw management. And then, actually that we try to analyze the gap between the prior condition and the next, or the ideal condition that we want. Our target is integrated management of straw residue through agricultural mechanization solution. So we try to formulate some gap analysis, suboptimal training and knowledge, lack of awareness and training, low participation, lack of agricultural machinery and technology, and also the suboptimal condition and agricultural machinery support. So this gap analysis before and after the program. Mechanization, yeah, we try to make some step, like some some activity starting from on-farm activity, harvesting, and then post-harvest, and then storage or utilization. So we need some specific agriculture machinery for related this program for every step, yeah, on farm, harvesting, post-harvest, and also storage. Mechanization, this is some equipment or some small machine that we provide during this program. Yeah, then into 3 locations. Yeah, this depend on also the their need and also the suitable with the characterization of location. Yeah, on farm machine, yeah, with cutter, something like that, or have harvesting, yeah, thresher machine, etc. And also it is a post-harvest machine and also storage utilization. So there's some kind of agriculture machinery and equipment that we provide during the program. And the result is some activity that we already conducted during the program. This first is demonstration and field testing of the machinery in the pilot location. Yeah, you see that we ask not only farmers but also women farmers to join in the training program. Yeah, and they try how to use, how to operate the machine. Yeah. And the second field trial, the straw management practices, yeah, composting, fermented feed making, yeah. And then some machinery also, we try to modify the customized straw pressing machine. Yeah, this still manual actually, but we try to step by step to introduce the straw pressing machine to the farmers. And also modification of hand tractor straw cutter that's related to the situation, related to the condition in the field, and also modification of trailer. Yeah, so we try not only give the new one, but also the modification machine. Some training that we also collaboration with one of a research and development institution in Ministry of Agriculture. Yeah, is especially agriculture mechanization center, and also some local government, also agricultural extension workers. So we join together with some parties to give the training and awareness generation. These are some training that's conducted in 3 pilot locations. That we try to calculate also key achievement of that's one of the parameter is mechanization index. That's we try to compare before and after. For example, in one location, Japuhan, there's an increasing number of mechanization index is 2.8. Also in Gamparan and Kwasen, yeah, because it's rather different between 3 locations, because some there are some machine or there are some equipment before, yeah, and paddy productivity we try to also compare. Actually, we would like to continue the survey, the monitoring and evaluation related to the program. And the increasing productivity, increasing mechanization index, something like that. There is a key achievement, that's a feedback result. Yeah, some parameters point of view. Yeah, but we can conclude that increasing machinery mechanization index before and after, number of farmer trains, 55% of male farmers, and also engagement and number of involved women farmers, about 50 women farmers. Implementation of agricultural mechanization for improving the condition at the pilot location, that's already mentioned, and also 21 training of agricultural machinery and related. So this our key achievement during the program. Key learning and recommendations. Yeah, actually we would like to continue the process and follow up activity on program sustainability, quality approach. Yeah, we try to, yeah, with our university to conduct some laboratory tests, something like that, to be continue. So we have comprehensive data or comprehensive information letter related the positive impact of the CECAM's program in Yogyakarta, in our place. Developing and promoting a role model of agricultural learning centers. Yeah, that's, we want that we need build look like learning center, so everybody can visit there and learning together with the farmers how to manage the straw residue and something like that. Strengthening farmer group organization and function, yeah, in order to self-reliance implementation. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for CECAM and also UN-ESCAP. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Lilik, for highlighting the work that's been done at the Indonesia site. I think it's encouraging to see high participation of women farmers, both in Indonesia as well as previously in the Cambodia presentation. I think I'd mentioned about addressing the local needs, and then I think here, I think as may be seen, a relatively simple equipment and machinery suitable for smallholder farmers have been promoted for work. So it's about customizing to local conditions. Thank you for your presentation. So now let's move on to the final presentation in this session from Nepal. I would like to invite Mr. Javed Alam, Associate Professor and Lead of the Department of Agricultural Engineering of Tribhuvan University, who have implemented the pilot in Nepal. So Professor Alam, it's over to you. And once again, please, if you can keep to 12 minutes, that would be great, because I think we are running a bit over time. So, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Are you hearing me, Dr. Anshuman?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, thank you very much, Dr. Anshuman. I'm starting. Combating air pollution from biomass burning through mechanization solutions for integrated straw management. Today's
could you switch to full screen mode, Professor Alam? Yes.
Today's outline of presentation. My presentation is there will be overview results from the baseline survey that we conducted last year, mechanization-based interventions, results from field trials and tests, training of the operators, and awareness generation among farmers, key achievements, benefits, key learning and recommendations. So in this country, agriculture contributed 15.44 in a gross domestic product in 2019 and 20, and out of which 8.49% was from the cereals and other crops, and especially paddy, maize, and wheat, and its straw has the contribution of 15.35 8.85 and 6.35 respectively. Here we can see the straw yield, paddy, maize, and wheat, about 6.05 million metric ton, 3.15, 2.29. So it is his huge amount to be managed, straw to be managed. Recent years, straw burning has started and expanding after use of combine harvesters especially. And exact data is not available at the recent stage, but there are cases of burning. We had the pilot site in Gramthan Rural Municipality, that is in Morang district. And we were associated with the Krishna Dana Udyog. Actually, it is a feed industry working as a stakeholder as pilot demonstration site. It works as it compresses straw blocks with added nutrients for livestock. And also it has the agricultural farm. We can see here, we are in the eastern part of the country. Results from the baseline survey, total 111 participants were included in the survey, in which 19% were female and 18% were male. And here we can see the location of the surveyed areas in Morang district. And in this figure, 101 respondents responded that they use straw, rice straw as animal feed. Some 47 responded as animal bedding also they use. So these are the, some of them use as thatching, mulching, and compost. They also sell, 28% responded as they sell, and almost 29 they said that they also burn the rice straw. And we tried to know the reasons for burning. Among them, 17 responded that they do not have the time, sufficient time gap between two crops, rice and wheat, so they burn. And some of them, 16 almost, had responded there that the no use of alternative method. And 7 of them responded that they do not believe in payment, that it can be generated as a money. So, and 6 of them told that the family insisted to burn it. And there is also labor scarcity. So these were the results from the baseline survey. Mechanization-based interventions. There were 2 interventions. One was in situ management in the field. We used happy seeder and super seeder to manage the straw in the field. Super seeder is actually it is a one-pass sowing solution, incorporate paddy, straw, and stubble into the soil, and simultaneously it sows the seeds also. It reduces the time required for the soil preparation and help to meet the season. And also it reduces the production cost and increases the profit. At the same time, we use mulcher. Actually, it mulches or crushes the crop residue on the field and spread it as a mulch. Here in this picture, this is the recent trial that it is on the field. The crop is after 62 days. This photograph has been taken. The right one is sown by the super seeder, and the left one is sown as a traditionally. So we can see the difference here. We also used in situ mechanization-based interventions as drum seeder. It does not have the direct impact on the straw management, but it has the indirect impact that we use drum seeder in a puddled land. And during the monitoring of the crop, we found that the drum seeder used field or rice was grown early, almost 15 to 21 days, and left one is transplanted rice and right one is drum seeded rice. So we can see the difference in maturity. So the ripening stage is earlier in the drum seeder, so we have the sufficient gap time to manage the straw for the next crop. Ex-situ management based interventions at pilot site, there was a DTMR block machine, which uses actually compresses and make a straw block with added nutrients. It is easy to transport it. Actually, it increases the density, so reduce the storage space and easily bulk transportation. And also it reduces the cost. It reduces the production cost and increases the profit. Another one was straw baler. Straw baler compresses and compress cut and raked crops residue into compact bales that are easy to handle, transport, and store actually. So it clears the soil and prepares it for the sowing of the next crop and provides secondary income for the farmers also. Results from the field trials. Here we had the control plot, that is we used the traditional method to grow the crop. Another one was the experimental, and we had two parameters to observe. One was organic matter and the net nitrogen. Before sowing the wheat, that is before intervention, and after, we used 2-time soil testing. So we can see here that the control plot has also increased organic matter, and experimental plot has also increased organic matter. At the same time, nitrogen has also, we found, increased in both the plots. Similarly, wheat trial and paddy trial gave the in control plot and experimental plot, we had the slightly increased yield in the experimental plot, but the BC ratio was higher. Obviously, in we got benefit in experimental plot. Similarly, paddy also gave the higher yield in the experimental plot, and the BC ratio was more in experimental plot. Training and awareness sessions. Training was conducted for operators, in which total 15 participants were included, trained, among which locals were 33% and 67% were from the out stations. We trained them for to operate and maintain the super seeder, DTMR block machines, mulcher, and straw baler. Similarly, there were demonstration sessions for the farmers, in which total 194 farmers were demonstrated, in which 27% was female and 73% was male. There were 3 demonstrations, first, second, and third. These data show the male and female ratio in these 3 demonstration sessions, demonstration and awareness sessions. Key achievements and benefits. we were made aware of straw burning consequences and the economic benefits of the valorization. Training tractor operators on new in situ and ex situ machineries was effective for smooth operation and maintenance, but longer training is needed. Represented cooperatives are willing to buy such machines. In situ machineries, superseeder and mulcher were added in pilot sites. Cost of production by labor-saving DTMR block was reduced by adding auxiliary machines and arranging proper production flow at that pilot site. Demonstration of newly purchased superseeder for in situ management of straw in wheat cultivation was highly appreciated by farmers, researchers, and extension workers. Government stakeholders are convinced with superseders for in situ straw management. Research station at Tarhara, Nepal Agriculture Research Council. Tarhara is planning to purchase 1 unit for vigorous trials and demonstration, and surrounding farmers of pilot site will be adopting superseeder for wheat cultivation, but more machines are needed for mass replication. Key recommendations: use of minimum, that is superseeder for wheat cropping is highly recommended for both straw management and economic perspective. Ex situ management of straw using DTMR block machines, the density by compaction, hence lowers the storage and transportation costs. Proper government planning and strategies is needed to discourse straw burning and encourage straw-based industries. Organic content of the Nepalese soils are degrading, so proper in situ residue management is necessary to improve the soil quality and hence the productivity. And further replication and expansion of the pilot is needed to draw more conclusions on the improvement of soil condition and strengthen efforts to convince the farmers to adopt new concepts and new technologies. Thank you very much, Dr. Anshuman.
Thank you very much, Professor Alam, for a very clear presentation. And I think especially the 2 pictures that you showed, showing the difference in the growth of the crop in the experimental and control plots, with better growth on one side, and allowing farmers to have a greater gap between harvesting and the next seeding cycle. I think that's a good example of effective residue management through the application of machinery. So thank you, and to all the 4 presenters from our pilot sites. We were supposed to have a discussion session, but we are running about 15 minutes behind schedule already. But maybe we can just keep the discussion quite short. We have a couple of discussants, who would like to share a few reflections with us from countries other than where we have the pilots. So maybe I can just invite them to briefly share some reflections. We have Mr. Lasantha Vikramasuriya. He's the director of the Agricultural Machinery Manufacturers Association of Sri Lanka. So Lasantha, maybe I can invite you to very briefly, in a couple of minutes, share some thoughts and reflections on the sessions today.
Good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning to wherever each one of you are. Very insightful presentation, I must say. Was particularly the result from China because of probably the scale and scope at which they're operating. We saw complete for the entire, with the residue is being dealt with, and then to other extents in Indonesia, Nepal, and Cambodia. I'm wearing the hat of Sri Lanka and trying to look at it from a Sri Lankan perspective, because we have a very serious issue here as well, where most of the residue straw is burnt, even though the government and the department has told the farmers very, very specifically they should not and they cannot burn. So the farmers on the slide do this because they have no other source of getting rid of it. So there are a couple of things, I would like to put as thought provoking. One is to transfer this technology to the the lesser developed markets like Sri Lanka and other similar countries, where we may have some awareness of the technology, but it's not seen or heard very much. So that's one, to see how we can adapt this technology into smaller countries where the land holdings are predominantly small, around a hectare or 2 hectare lands, plots, whether it is maize or whether it is paddy, which are the primarily grown crops in Sri Lanka. Then also there is an issue about this so-called economic viability and the affordability. So the model I was just thinking as I was listening to this presentation is, now we have a similar situation with combined harvesters where the owners of the combined harvesters are not really farmers. They are really entrepreneurs who have invested in the machine, and they move this machine around different parts of the countries to deal with the harvesting. And today Sri Lanka has reached about, I would say about 95% of its harvesting is through combined harvesters. So maybe there is an entrepreneurial opportunity for like-minded entrepreneurs who can set up dealing with the straw that is remaining in paddy fields. The farmers can collect, perhaps all these machineries can be rented out to bale them or to build bundles or whatever the semi-processed part of it. And an entrepreneur gets involved in then processing this straw into fertilizer or into fodder or whatever the other forms of usage, and thereby creating some new value added rather than seeing this as a waste. Because today we are looking at dealing with waste, right? Domestic waste, industrial waste. So similar approach can be taken, and perhaps develop a model and promote the propagation of entrepreneurs to deal with straw management or the residues from agricultural waste. So that may work in a country like Sri Lanka, where we have hundreds and thousands of farmers with small land holdings who cannot afford to do this on their own. So I think one important area, perhaps the onus is partly also onto our industrialists in Sri Lanka, but to try and get this knowledge transferred, if there's any way that we can maybe work with CECAM to try and bring this technology into Sri Lanka, create more awareness, I think that will be a very significant way forward to the industry and for dealing with these environmental issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Santa, for your comments. And again, we've noted that this is also an issue and in Sri Lanka, and particularly, how do we extend some of the bigger technologies to smallholder farmers? It's a common concern and also something we're trying to address through the ongoing pilots. Thank you for your comments. I would also like to invite Dr. Surendra Singh, the technical advisor of the Agricultural Machinery Manufacturers Association from India, to please share any thoughts and reflections on the sessions today. In fact, we also have a question in the chat. Like, I'm not sure if there is any experience on residue management for crops other than rice, like cotton, maize, and sugarcane. So if you have, Dr. Singh, any experience or reflections on that aspect, please also share from your side.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramspan. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. Actually, burning of straw causes phenomenal pollution problems in the atmosphere and huge nutritional loss and physical health deterioration of the soil. Why burning of straw take place? The time available between the rice harvesting and the wheat sowing is very narrow, and it's in the range of 15 to 30 days. After harvesting rice by combine, the farmers sun dry the straw for a few days and then burn them in the field before preparing the field for the next crop by using disc harrow, cultivator, planter, rotavator, and sow the wheat crop, potato, or any other crop. Now, farmers have in mind that if the field is not cleared quickly, they will lose next crop, or they will be having low production of wheat, vegetables, potato, etc. There should be awareness program for the farmers on the alternate and safe method of straw management. There can be two ways, in situ option and ex situ option. Mulching and incorporation are the two suggested methods in situ straw management. Attachment of super straw management system in the existing combine harvester and direct wheat sowing with paddy, happy seeder, super seeder, smart seeder is the one solution. In ex situ option, the straw collected with the help of rake and baler and transported to different plants for industrial application. That straw is mainly used for the power generation in biogas-based power plants, biomass collected, biomass pelleting in the biomass pelleting plants, compressed biogas, bio-CNG in biogas generation plants, alcohol production in biogas alcohol plants, etc. Baling and transporting straw from field, though appears to be an option for the safe disposal, it may not be feasible currently on the large scale until alternate sufficient plants are installed. Then ex situ straw management options are also more capital intensive and require significant subsidy amount for the farmers and user industry to be sustainable. There cannot be a single solution for straw management, and we have to have multiple options for the farmers to manage the straw. China is doing good job in this area and approached 5 ways to tackle the straw management. They have been using straw as a fertilizer, where the straw can be chopped into small pieces and mixed into the soil, and the use of chemical fertilizer can be reduced. Straw can be used as a fodder, as animal feeds. Straw can be used as a new energy resources such as biogas production. Straw can be used as a base material for the mushroom cultivation in vegetable growing as a mulch material, and also for the combustible gas generation used for heating and other domestic purposes. And straw can be also used as industry material where the mechanization-based interventions is required, that is, the promote baler to collect the rice straw, which can be used in the power generation and for other purposes. Cambodia, Indonesia, and Nepal are also attempting different ways to handle field straw. Training and skill development programs need to be initiated for the farmers on the large scale to manage the field straw in the field multiple ways. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. I think for adding the India perspective, the machinery like the Happy Seeder and Super Straw Management System being used. Thank you for your reflections. So with regard to the question in the chat, I mean, if is there any experience for other crops, other than the rice wheat system, I would just like to add that, in Indonesia, for example, we are looking at the residue from the second crop, like sugarcane or soya bean, and what we are trying to do there is really to use the small machinery for helping the farmers deal with the residue there, and to process it in a appropriate way that it can be used further. So perhaps in future, there may be more experience that is gained in that area, and we as CSAM would be happy to share it in future. So I think with that we are completely at the end of our time. We are 10 minutes over. So I would just like to, I think it's a difficult job to summarize the wide-ranging discussions we've had, but I think clearly the discussions have reiterated the importance of combating straw residue burning, and with mechanization solutions and also with the air quality monitoring and modeling approaches playing a key role. Addressing local level needs, I think, has come up as an important factor, and also the aspect of cost. Can we have entrepreneurs, renting out machinery through custom hiring as a way to scale up beyond the pilot stage. Also, I think that has the importance of capacity building and of furthering regional and international cooperation. I feel has been reiterated. So beyond that, I think I will not attempt to summarize, but I think we've had a very interesting round of discussion. I would just like to wrap up by thanking our speakers in the opening session, Mr. Yoshankar from the permanent mission of China to ESCAP, Dr. Sanmin Nam from the Environment and Development Division, Dr. Yutong Lee, and other colleagues from the Environment Division for their contributions. I also thank our partners from all the 4 countries, China, Cambodia, Indonesia, and Nepal, for not just your valuable work on the pilot sites, but very insightful presentations that have taken place today. And then I also thank our 2 discussants in the final session for sharing their thoughts. Finally, I mean, a special word of thanks to our participants who have taken time out of their busy schedule to join us today and to participate in the workshop. So before I go, I would just request you to take a few minutes to complete the participants' feedback form. And the link to that has been circulated in the chat box by my colleagues. So please do take a few minutes to fill that in. So thank you once again. And with that, I would like to draw this workshop to a close. Thank you very much for participating.